Not having kids is not a flex.
Really? Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. My name is Sessa and this is Sessa's Spill. Today we're spilling on this man who is out here saying not having kids is not a flex. Actually, a lot of people think it's a big flex when you don't have kids because there are lots of things you can do when you don't have kids. Now, is it a flex? I'm going to leave you guys in the comment section to let me know if it's a flex or not. But for now, let's go listen to what other people thought about all of this and I will be back.
It's not a flex. Hear me. If you are single, unmarried, and without child, you are responsible. But a flex, it is not. Childlessness cannot be a flex. And to me, it goes beyond just the single without kid thing, and I'm still desirable. Look, I get that. But it's the idea of children in general being this inconvenience or hindrance or limitation to our lives. And to me, it just shows how self-indulgent and self-centered we're becoming as a generation. And I just feel like we got to be careful before we stigmatize motherhood or childbearing or parenthood in general.
I'm gonna tell you right now that Scotty didn't want any smoke. And he just wanted a rage bait because Scotty turned off his duets and his stitches because he really wasn't about it. So I'm still going to tag him because you wanted the attention so bad. So here we are. Couple of things to which you said, Scotty. He said that not having children is not a flex. Not be teenage pregnancy for that not to be a fucking flex. I did not go all the way up until I was 35 to be pregnancy for it not to be a flex. To me, it can be a flex. To you, it can't be. We can have a difference in opinions and move the fuck on. You said that children aren't limiting and children aren't an inconvenience. To you, they may not be. To me, they absolutely are. A child would 100% limit the way I live my life, and a child 100% will be an inconvenience in my life. That is my opinion and you have yours. We can have difference in opinions and move the hell on. Women were not just put on this earth to, one, be mothers and two, be housewives. If you still have that type of mentality, we can go at this shit all day, babe. We can go at this shit all day because something in here might not click completely in your head. I'm so tired of child-free women getting the constant shit end of the stick because men think that a woman's role is to only bear children. Women can have whole lives without being mothers. And again, no uterus, no fucking opinion. How about you leave the child-free women the fuck alone?
Not having kids is not a flex. At least that's what that one guy said. And I 100% disagree with him. Having kids is a blessing, but it's probably also one of the biggest sacrifices that somebody will have to make in their lifetime. The reason why not having kids is a flex is because there are certain things you can do when you don't have kids versus when you do. If I decided right now that I wanted to just get up and go somewhere tomorrow for 3 days, I can do it without any concern whatsoever of where my kids are going to be, who's going to take care of them, and planning around making sure that they're good. Or even making it something a lot more simple than that. Let's say if I had a really bad day at work and then I went home and all I want to do is just sit on the couch and not deal with anybody else for the rest of the night. When you don't have kids, you have those privileges. But when you do have kids, every and anything you do has to revolve around the life of your kids. Again, having kids is a blessing. But let's not be stupid and act like we don't know. When you don't have kids, you have so much more freedom to just do things for yourself.
Not having kids isn't a flex, then why are you so jealous of people that don't have kids? Not having kids leads to two symptoms: more money and more free time. The two biggest flexes you can have, especially right now. You can definitely still be rich and have kids, it's just harder to get rich. If you have a child and you somehow have the same amount of free time of someone that doesn't have a child, you're probably a bad parent. Sometimes having a kid is a flex. Sometimes you have a sick ass kid and that's awesome and that's great for you and it fits perfectly in your life and that's great and awesome. But don't persuade people into having children by telling them that not having kids is not a flex. It is by definition a flex.
Not having kids is not a flex. It's not a flex. Hear me. If you are single, unmarried, and without child, you are responsible.
Goes on to say how our generation has become more self-serving, self-centered, and how he doesn't want children to be seen as like a hindrance, and how doesn't want a negative outlook on parenthood. And I get where he's coming from, but it's like, You know why we've had that reaction? It was the generation before us. Either they told us you need to go to school, get a career, and then everything else comes after that. Or we watched them do it their way and they struggled. They got it done, but they struggled. Now, I do think that we've overcorrected just a hair. But this is a part of that tune-up. It's a process in the hopes of getting it right. In these modern times, things have really changed. But it's ultimately for the better.
Not having kids is not a flex. It's not a flex.
Wrong. This dude obviously is just trying to control women. Like, that is the biggest control fucking tactic. That shit worked on our women ancestors, and that's not a knock to them. They literally didn't know any better. But once they did, guess what they taught? Us. And so now men are pissed because it's like, damn, like, women, they're getting out of their place. They're not we can't control them. Duh. I really think that is the main reasons why there's so many incels. It's really just because they don't have it like their grandfathers and great-grandfathers, or maybe even some of their daddies, depending on how old the dad is. And then dude says not having kids isn't a flex, when most of the time that is what men try to avoid to do. And if they do have the kid, they don't fucking take care of the kid the way a parent should. They leave all of that, the actual raising, on the mom. Again, in a weird, sick, and twisted way, the rise of incels, the rise of the lonely male epidemic or whatever, the rise of men trying to tell women to be more traditional, that just means women are healing. Women are growing. You gotta look at it as in there's so much growth, not only in womanhood and with women, but on this planet and in this country, to the point we got somebody old as hell in there reversing all of the growth and the progress we've made as humanity and as a country. We got to keep growing, ladies, and I know it seems pretty defeating right now, especially with everything that's happening within our government in the USA, but we can't give up. Our ancestors have experienced worse, and that's not to dismiss what we're still going through as women. My point is, if our ancestors can overcome those crazy ass times with the little resources and developments they had, imagine us. We're living in a time of information and infinite like resources, like different ways to fight back, you know, like TikTok and so many other ways. We can overcome this. We got to keep fighting. We cannot give up.
Having no kids, that's a flex. You ain't got no kids, that's a flex. Don't let nobody make you feel bad for not having kids. Like, what? It hit a little different. I get to come and go when I want to. I come home to a clean house. I spend my money just on me. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying there's nothing wrong with having kids, but all I'm saying is it's a flex not to have kids, because not too many of us out here without kids. You know what I'm saying? I hate the fact how people try to be like, oh, you gonna be lonely when you get older, or woo. Like, man, I don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool with that. You see this meal I just bought right here? I bought that shit for me, not me and another month. You know what I'm saying? It just hit different. All jokes aside though, for real, having a kid is a real responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Am I ready for that right now? No. I want to accomplish all my goals. I want to accomplish all my dreams. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nothing holding me back. You know what I'm saying? In the near future, do I consider having kids? Absolutely. But right now, I'm just fully focused on me. You know what I'm saying? And having kids is a flex. Don't let people guilt trip you and make you think you gotta have kids right now at a young age, or you gonna grow old and lonely. I'ma just be a lonely, rich motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
So we brag about not having kids again? I saw a post on here saying that I be seeing y'all saying no kids, but y'all don't be saying no job, no money, no career, no future. I added that last part. But now y'all be bragging about not having kids, and I don't see you doing anything productive. I don't know you for anything. You don't have a name for yourself anywhere. And to keep it real, even when I didn't have kids, I was never the type to brag about not having kids. And I thought it was kind of weird, because it's like, why are you bragging about not reproducing, going along with nature? It's natural to have kids. I don't know. I don't think that's something to brag about. Maybe when you're maybe in your early 20s, and definitely when you're a teen. Okay, maybe it's something to brag about to somebody that's young-minded and don't have responsibilities. Of course, it's something to brag about when you ain't got nothing to live for, when you don't have a purpose in life. I mean, okay, maybe I do get it. Maybe I do understand why you guys brag about not having kids. It's because you don't have anything that's worth having kids for. You don't live a life that a kid would even enjoy, honestly. Y'all be talking about freedom this, freedom that. Freedom to do what? Party, drink, smoke? have meaningless connections with folks, and don't even pass time correctly. And I'm gonna be real, the only person that you offending, the only type of parent that you're offended are parents that weren't meant to be parents, or parents who didn't want to be parents. The ones that are just minding their business and tending to their kids and handling we don't care about you not having kids. We've had a life without kids before. It's over with. I would want to trade no place with no childless person. Because being childish is not too far off from being childless. Just saying.
Not having kids is not a flex. It's not a
I'm gonna tell you about one of the scariest videos I've ever seen on social media. Mind you, this video did not involve any human torture or gore or any fucked up event. It was a very normal video. It was a guy filming his friend and his friend's girlfriend. You can tell they're in their 20s. There's a caption on the video saying something like the couple is bragging about never having kids. If I remember correctly, I hope this isn't my memory just exaggerating shit, but I think the guy tells his friend, "Are you ever having kids?" And the friend's like, "Fuck no," or he does something like that. It cuts to 5 years later. His friend and his friend's girlfriend now has 2 kids. And I just remember the guy, the father, holding his son or daughter in his lap, and he just looks fucking miserable. Also, the couple gained weight. I'm not being fat phobic when I say that. The idea of gaining weight due to that scares the shit out of me. So of course I would see that as a net negative. And get this, they had a 3rd one on the way. Now, maybe something changed. Maybe they plan to have all those kids. I'm just being a jackass for judging so harshly. But every couple, at least in our generation, every young couple, every time when they have a kid, it's never planned. I've never once met a couple in my generation who said, "Yeah, we plan to have this kid." No, it's always, it just happened. Life just happened. Life just happened. That's always the... I'm sorry, it scared the shit out of me. As you can tell by my mannerisms and the way that I speak, I don't want to be a parent because I can't. One, I'm selfish and I would emotionally neglect and resent the child. So that's child abuse, and I refuse to ever abuse any child, especially my own. I'm not mentally wired to have a child. That's what I'm trying to say. To a degree, I understand what the guy is trying to say. It's not a flex to say you don't have children. Because later in the video, he goes on to say how he doesn't want the idea of having children to be stigmatized. That's fair. Have you ever been on the anti-natalist subreddit? It's an ugly place. It's basically a group of people saying, "Don't have kids. Ew, gross. Don't you dare have kids." Like, it's a very fucked up place in my opinion. But I feel the desire to have children nowadays is at an all-time low because the economy, the world's kind of fucked, and people are struggling with the childhood trauma that they had to endure by their parents who were not ready to be parents. So yeah, I agree to the guy. Yeah, not having kids, it shouldn't be a flex, but at the same time, I can see why someone would see it as a flex. So that's all I gotta say.
The creator who was preaching not having kids is not a flex. You claim to be a man of God, but did it ever dawn on you that sometimes God chooses who can become a parent and who can't? As someone who had a battle with cancer, I had to unfortunately give up fertility, and for me, it wasn't a flex, it was my life. It was completely against my will and not my choice, and no matter how hard the doctor and I tried to save me from having fertility issues, it was out of my control, and at the end of the day, it was God's plan. It took me a while to get here, but I came to the realization that not having kids is not all that bad. I know plenty of young married couples who are young, healthy, fertile, and they have made the conscious decision not to bring children into the world for multiple reasons. Some of them have genetic issues like physical issues, mental issues that they don't want to pass on to the next generation. While other couples know that they don't have the emotional, physical, and financial bandwidth that it takes to raise a child in this world. Then you have the couples who are afraid to bring in children into this world because of external environments. I mean, there's pedos, school shootings, trafficking, a bunch of scary stuff that can really make a couple scared to have a child in the world today. Those who are not choosing to bring in children in today's world, it is not a flex, it's a legitimate concern, and at the end of the day, it's a choice that nobody can get online and give anybody a hard time about. As a man of God, before you come online and post things just to say things, you should know that everybody is on the journey that they were destined to be on.
We need to chat. There's this TikTok trend happening about a conversation about people who don't have children and how not having children is not a flex. First of all, those of us that don't have children recognize the fact that not having children is responsible in the fact that when you choose to have children, it's an immense amount of sacrifice and responsibility you have to be willing to take on and do that unselfishly. Secondly, most of the time when y'all talking about people that are childless, you're not talking about men, you're talking about women, and you're projecting your feelings about how humanity's not being saved and people are selfish and they don't care about the world, yada, 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 onto women. People rarely ever say that about the men that are 20, 30, 40, 50 years old with no children. And lastly, people use this topic
to project onto others because they usually are the ones that had children early in life or at a time where they were not ready. So now they're trying to force us to have children, and I'm not into it. Sorry.
Not having kids is not a flex.
Yes, it is. Especially if you're a woman and you don't have kids. You know why? The majority of people who have kids, who wanted kids, didn't actually want them for themselves, but because society pressures them into it, they have kids. Everyone who I know who has kids right now is miserable. And that's not entirely their fault. Like, obviously the economy is trash, everything is expensive, but they're miserable. When I was getting insurance with my new job and the lady was filling out my paperwork, she asked me, are you married? Do you have kids? I told her, nope, single as a Pringle and no kids in sight. She's like, good. Mind you, she had a kid. I can literally do whatever the fuck I want. I just got back from San Francisco and I just booked a flight to Miami and Boston because I fucking could. Because I ain't got kids. I'm gonna do some stupid shit tonight. I don't know what I'm gonna get into, but I'm gonna get into it because I don't have kids. Miami, here I come. Because I ain't nobody's baby mama. Anyway, go have fun chasing your kids.
Living in the South, do you know how crazy people look at me for saying that I am 30 with no kids? People are like, why? And I'm like, you do know having kids is an option. You do know you can plan to have kids. You do know that waiting to be married to have kids is like normal. That's like normal. That's how it should be. I don't know if it's because coming from the East Coast, coming from Massachusetts, and then moving to Texas, it is normal to be in your 30s and have no kids. It is normal to go to school, travel, do the things that you want to do, become who you are, and not have kids. But the minute I moved to Texas, and once people meet me, they're like, how many kids you got? And I'm like, none. They're like, why? And I'm like, what you mean? Or simply the way I'm living, they're like, so who's paying your bills? Me. It's me. Like, I want to say this out loud and explicitly. You don't have to be a baby mother. You don't have to have kids with that man. And then on top of that, people are like, I don't want to get married because the law deems you husband and wife after 5 years in Texas. Common law. That's what we're aspiring to. Like, it's never I'm going to get married and have kids. Everybody got kids. Everybody got kids. Like, it's so normal to date someone and they have like kids from multiple people, or so normal to date someone and they had kids in their early 20s as teenagers, or they have teenagers themselves. It's not normal to be in your 30s or waiting or being intentional about having children. That is just like insane to me until this day. Like, people look at you like you're an anomaly. Like, this is like normal. And I knew being in the South is going to be different. Obviously, different strokes for different folks. But I'm here to tell you, you don't need to have them kids. You can plan to have kids. You can save for kids. You can wait until it's the right time. You don't have to lay down and have them kids with that person. Baby mom is not, it's not a righteous title. It's really not. Common law is not godly. Like, this is not normal. Like, this is not okay. This is not what God intended us to do and to be and to become. Like, you can be 30 with no kids.
What's with all the weird flexes of people that don't have kids? I get to sleep in. I can travel. I can go where I want. Dude, I have 5 kids and I can sleep in. I can travel. I can go wherever I want to. So what? You don't have to change diapers. You realize the diaper changing phase and the waking up in the middle of the night phase is only like the first 2 years, right? I think the people that are trying to convince us how much they love not having kids probably have some fertility issues, or they can't find a partner. They don't have kids with them. They missed the boat. So now they're trying to convince us all that it's the greatest life ever. It's an empty, selfish life, man. I have 5 kids, dude, from 3 years old to 19 years old. And I can tell you, there's nothing like rearing a human being, teaching them how to walk, talk, love, behave, make friends. It's a little part of you, man. It's your gift to the world. So nobody should downplay that, whether you want to have kids or not.
I just saw a whole ass grown ass man talking about how not having children is not a flex, that it is self-indulgent, and that children shouldn't be seen as an inconvenience. Hold that. Can I record you real quick? Not you, just your voice.
Yeah.
Do I love you?
Yeah.
Are children an inconvenience?
Sometimes.
Are you sometimes inconvenient for me?
Yes.
Do I still love you?
Yes.
Okay. Would you think that it is a flex to be a single adult without children?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you consider it to be self-indulgent or selfish?
No.
No. As a child, you're saying this, right?
Yeah.
So a grown-ass man saying that people are self-indulgent for not wanting children, he would be what?
Can I say this without getting in trouble?
Nope, probably not.
Not having kids is not a flex. It's not a flex. Hear me.
You told me to hear you out, and I did. At 41 years old, I have no kids, and I have never been married. And I heard you out on why you said that is not a flex. And I wanted said that in no way by me being like, oh, single and childless, am I saying motherhood is bad or fatherhood is bad. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is everybody that I know or just about everybody I know that is married with kids is having some sort of issue. It's a thankless, exhausting, endless job. And everybody I know with kids loves their kids and is grateful for them. But the stress of marriage and kids is what we're excited to have escaped.
Not having kids is not a flex. It's not a flex.
I beg your pardon? Of course, it's the biggest flex there is. Because you get to spend your time the way you want it. Is it selfish? On the surface level. But then there are other issues at hand. As an example, me and my partner, we would not be allowed to even adopt. Or if we were to be allowed, it's very difficult because you have to jump through a million hoops. Then you have society at large who's very prejudiced and then believes, oh my god, you're indoctrinating the children with your lifestyle. How dare you? Even though I grew up in a heterosexual household and what heterosexuality was shown on TV, I've been subjected to it my entire life and still I'm gay. Ooh. But that's besides the point. Again, being childless, that can be a flex. Then there are women who can't even have children. So are you gonna bully them into adopting? What's the point? Of course it's a flex. I don't get this point. What's the actual point? I read through your comment section and it still made no sense. And then at the same time, I remember attending my sister-in-law's 40th birthday party. All of them married with children, all the guests. I couldn't help but notice that all of them were stressed out. All of them were losing their hair. So, I even had a conversation with one of the parents, one of the mothers specifically, and she even asked me about me and my family life if I had children. I said no, but that's alright. I don't envy them. I appreciate that all of them have children and I love that for them. I'm very happy for them, but it's not for me. So why wouldn't it be a flex? I get to spend the time how I desire it. That's okay. Let people be childless, for God's sake.
Not having kids is not a flex. It's not a flex.
Why are y'all so obsessed with people not wanting to have kids? I don't want to fucking have kids. It's not that hard to understand or comprehend. People acting like you not wanting to have kids is the end of the world. It's not. If you want to have kids, you go ahead, lay down with somebody and make a baby. But I'm not doing that. Not everybody is financially or mentally or physically stable enough to raise a fucking child. It's not a hard concept to understand. I don't care if someone has 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids, 5 kids, 6 kids. I don't want any. I don't. Like, I think people have to understand that having kids takes up a lot of time and it's priority as well. Like, I just hate the fact that these videos keep popping up on my For You page and it's starting to get on my nerves. Do I want to have kids one day? Maybe. But like right now, I don't want to have kids. What? Y'all be doing too much. Get the fuck off the internet.
would love to shame those that are child free, talking about it is not a flex to not want kids or not have kids. Ooh, I beg to differ. It's a huge flex being self-aware, to think things through on a logical lens before you bring a kid into this capitalistic society. Misery really loves company, and a lot of these parents just want you to suffer. They like, if I have to work a job that I hate, so do you. So I'm gonna bring you into this existence to suffer with me. Just because you can procreate doesn't mean you should. A lot of these kids never asked to be in this dysfunctional household with you. But unfortunately, y'all have kids out of boredom. Just because you can, just because you are horny, just because it is the adult thing to do, doesn't mean it's the brightest thing to do. Y'all really gotta lay off trying to bash those that are choosing not to reproduce, because we're not moving off of emotions. We're not moving off of feelings. We're not moving off of horniness or just doing something because the Bible said to reproduce and multiply. We're thinking on a conscious level. We see that the world is on fire. Would I bring a kid into a world that is on fire, that is burning down, that is crumbling as we speak? I'm not gonna sacrifice them. I will sacrifice myself for the greater good. I will break the generational curses. It will end right here with me. All right? I will heal my own inner child before I bring a child just to traumatize them.
Not having kids is not a flex. It's not a flex.
Yes, it is. Being child-free by choice is absolutely a flex. It is a flex to be able to come home from a long, exhausting day of work and being able to relax and unwind in any way that I choose. It is a flex to not have to hear piercing screams and constant mom, 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 mom 10,000 times every single day. It is a flex to be able to spend my hard-earned money on anything that I want. But the biggest flex of all is being able to live my life the way that I choose to and not feeling the need to live up to arbitrary patriarchal standards and the myth that motherhood is the only way for women to feel fulfilled. This guy goes on to talk about how childlessness has become a sign of how self-indulgent and self-centered our generation has become. Is it selfishness, or is it just that women are waking up to the fact that we have a choice in how to live our lives and we do not have to have children if we don't want them? He also says we need to be careful about stigmatizing motherhood and childbearing. Like, dude, I promise you, nobody is stigmatizing that. If anything, there is still a stigma around choosing to be child-free. Also, how come you didn't talk about stigmatizing fatherhood? Is not having kids not a flex for the guys too? Or is it just women? I think the real weird flex here is thinking that you have the authority to speak on other people's choices whether or not to procreate. Mind your own fucking business.
Why is it always the people who had kids in high school that try to convince you that being childless in your 30s and beyond is a bad thing? I cannot tell you the amount of videos that I have seen on this app since I cared about this app back in like 2019 or some shit. And you see video after video after video after video. Oh, having no kids in your 30s is not a flex. Having kids when you're old is not a flex. You need to da-da-da-da-da. First of all, bitch, I don't need to do nothing. I don't need to do shit. Alright? Yeah, I do what the fuck I want. You mind your fucking business. Secondly, I could not conceive the idea of going into 11th or 12th grade and having a son or daughter or having one of my classmates pregnant. I just could not believe it. I could not understand it. Or better yet, graduating high school, not even being 21 yet, and having a kid or kids on the way. I'm sorry, that's just something I don't get down with. Now, do I judge people? Not really. However, I don't sit here and be like, hey, well, you know, you fucked up and you're a stupid, dumb bitch for having kids. Well, fuck, that's your life. Do what you gotta do. Just don't bring that bullshit over here. Because especially in this day and age, see, it's just me and my gal inside this apartment. At any moment, we could just be like, hey, next week, take off 3 days and we getting the fuck out of here for a couple days. We could just do it. Like that. no babysitter, ain't gotta worry about where the churn going, ain't gotta worry about none of that shit. You see what I'm saying? That alone, that freedom alone is something that is worth telling anybody who tries to make it seem like I don't, live a good life because I don't have kids to shut the fuck up. That's what it's worth it to me. You have kids when you're ready. You don't have kids just because you like fucking. Okay? that's I don't see why we have to have this conversation. Don't nobody like coochie more than me. I'm the coochie man on this planet. However, I was responsible enough throughout my prostitution days in my early 20s and then into my relationship. We've been responsible enough to say, okay, we're not ready for kids right now. We don't want to do that, so let's move differently. So don't let nobody tell you that if your life is what it is and you don't have kids, don't let nobody tell you that's not a flex. Because the freedom that comes along with being able to do what the fuck you want at any moment, it's priceless.
Not having kids is not a flex. It's not a flex.
Get sterilized. If you are a young woman who does not want to have children, this message is for you. Get sterilized. Don't worry about what anybody else got to think. Your parents will get over it, the boyfriend will get over it, or you can break up with him. I'm going to tell you how I got sterilized in my 20s. I will be 39 next month. And I haven't had a period the entirety of my 30s and a little bit tail end of my 20s. You do not have to have kids if you don't want to. And because I did not want to have kids, I thought to myself, why the fuck am I bleeding? I started looking for a doctor to sterilize me when I was like 22, 21. Of course, I got told, no, you're too young. You'll change your mind. What about your husband? And at that time, I was married. Don't ask. Don't ask. Whilst going through my divorce, I went back to looking for a new OBG. Now this time I was like, I'm going to find me a woman. But to my chagrin, women were no different. I went to 2 OBGs of color. One was a black woman, one was a Southeast Asian woman. And both of them were like, no. The black woman was like, what about your husband? And I'm like, girl, I'm divorced. Like, I'm not doing this again. Here, you want the papers to prove it? I'm not doing this ever again. Oh, you'll change your mind. You'll meet someone. You'll change your mind. I was pissed. You're fired. Found the Southeast Asian woman. Younger. I'm thinking this won't be a huge issue. I'm a little bit older. Shouldn't be a problem now. You'll change your mind. You'll meet somebody and they'll want kids, and then you'll be over the moon and you'll give them a bunch of babies. I wanted to power snap her, and she was tiny too. I could have taken her. I moved back to Philly. I find me a new OBG. Found a white man, a little younger. Same thing. I'm not giving up. I don't know what part of no you motherfuckers aren't understanding, but I'm not doing this. I fire that doctor. Go back out again. But this time I'm 27. I'm like, I'm getting sterilized. I am not having any kids. This time, another white man, but he was old, like knocking on the door of retirement. We have a conversation. He examines me and he's like, sure. Okay. Let's find a date. This man looks at me and goes, how's 6 weeks from today? I could have kissed that man. I got my sterilization surgery. There was no fuss, no fighting. Done. Do you know how much money I saved not having to buy tampons, pads, and Midol? I shouldn't have had to fight that hard, but you know what? It was worth it. No cramps, no headaches, no bloating, no period farts, no period diarrhea. And now there is this lovely white woman who is an OBG who has a list of doctors that will sterilize you if that is what you truly want. Do it.
Not having kids is not a flex. It's not a flex. Hear me. If you are single, unmarried, and without child, you are responsible. But a flex, it is not. Childlessness cannot be a flex. And to me, it goes beyond just the single without kid thing. And I'm still desirable. Look, I get that. But it's the idea of children in general being this inconvenience or hindrance or limitation to our lives. And to me, it just shows how self-indulgent and self-centered we're becoming as a generation.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree. And this is coming from someone with a child. If you are mature enough to realize that you may not possibly be emotionally, financially, mentally stable or ready enough to have a child, and you choose not to have a child, that is very much so a flex. That you do not put yourself in situations to where a child would have been created that you were not prepared for or ready for. So yes, that's very much so a flex. And not being stuck with somebody's dusty ass son, having her kids, and then you might end up by yourself having to take care of them, or with somebody's raggedy ass childbearing daughter who should have never been a mother in the first place. It's very much so a flex. There are a lot of people out here that are able to carry and produce children that should have never been parents. So I applaud people who acknowledge that they're not ready for kids, or they may never be ready for children. Being a parent is a very selfless act. So, round of applause for all the childless flexers out there. Don't let people who regretted having their children tell you there's something wrong with you because you don't want children, or you're not ready for children.
The American dream is so dead, people don't even want to pass it on to their own kids. I read an article about how this is the hugest decline, right, in Americans having children. Americans are not having enough children for the first time in history to replace, themselves, right? But why would somebody bring children into this world, in America specifically? Why would you purposely have a baby in America? Why would a woman even do that? You don't have any control over your body. Government has ultimate control over your vessel. Hell, government will even keep you alive as a host when you're dead, just to make sure it can force you to give birth to that baby. So I don't see the benefit for women, frankly, to have babies. America is not a place for families. It's obviously not a place for families. It's not set up that way. They tax families into oblivion. So why would you sign up for that? So no, that's why people aren't having babies. America, if you want young people to have babies, how about you make this economy affordable? Because right now it's not. It's really set up just for rich people to have babies. So go have the rich women. Oh, that's right. They don't want to have rich women have a whole bunch of babies because their kids are not going to work in factories and stuff. It's supposed to be our kids work in factories. Like I said, that's why people not having kids. Why the hell would we have kids? Why would anybody have kids in this environment? Why would anybody have kids in this environment? It's not a good environment for children. So kudos to the young folk. If you smart, keep your dress down and your panties up.
I've been seeing a lot of videos recently about how not having kids is not a flex. And as a late bloomer, someone who did not come to dating until her 30s, I just had a few thoughts to add on this. Number one, for women especially, there has historically been an expectation for us to have children. And when you choose not to, there is a certain amount of shame and judgment that comes with that choice. But the truth of the matter is not everyone wants to be a parent. Not everyone wants to be a mother. So I feel like a big part of people flexing that they don't have kids is just trying to get acknowledgement that this is also a valid life decision. Having children, totally a valid decision. Not having children, also totally valid decision. Number two, and this is just a finer point, let people live. Let people live. If people are enjoying being child-free and not having kids and celebrating that, let them live. Doesn't mean people hate kids or hate people that have kids. They just are really enjoying the lives they've built for themselves without them. And I'm saying this as someone who is contemplating being a parent, if that's a life decision I want to make. Because I have never dreamed of being a mother. I have never felt that need. And I wouldn't say that I'm flexing on being child-free, but I am absolutely aware of what joys having a child could bring to my life, but also the struggle and the hardships that come along with that. And I am also aware of how much easier my life is without having kids in it. And again, not a child hater. I love my nieces and my nephews, and I am contemplating having kids in the nearish future. However, Stop coming for people who choose to be child free. It's just, in the year of our Lord 2025, this is a tired argument.
At the end of the day, your body, your choice. Yeah, whether it is a flex, whether it isn't a flex, the fact is that birth rate is declining, and it is what it is, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. No one should force you to be an incubator for making babies or carrying babies, or make you use your womb to be a baby carrier. Whatever you're going to do, make sure you're doing it with the right person, the person who values what you're doing, the sacrifices you're making, because we've seen women who lost their lives, who lost their eyesight, their hearing. I mean, different things has happened to women while trying to bring a child to this world. We don't see those kind of things happening to men. You guys, what are your thoughts concerning all of this? Please feel free to put your thoughts in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye for now.